Hello, everyone. I'm here to tell you something very interesting today. And what if I tell you that the way we define creativity in schools or in our society is actually holding students back from learning better? When most people hear the word creative, they think of art, music, or drama, right? But brain science tells us something very different. Creativity isn't just about artistic talent. It's actually how the brain understands and remembers difficult information. And here is the problem. When we leave creativity out of everyday subjects like math, science, or language, we are missing out on one of the most powerful memory tools we actually have. So make sure you stay with me until the very end of this video because I'm going to share 4 simple and powerful creative memory techniques and many more things and will tell you exactly how to use them across different subjects, right? So let's get started. Let's talk about a major understanding. We tend to look at music, dance, and painting as the only creative things because we can physically see or hear them. But when we limit our creativity to just those areas, we accidentally divide people in two groups: the people who think they are born creative and the people who think they aren't. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, I'm just not creative. I can't even draw a straight line"? Is this what creativity is all about? That is a total misunderstanding of how our brain works. Think about a chef throwing together a delicious dinner using only random leftovers in the fridge. Think about a software developer making a phone app easy to use, or a parent finding a clever way to get a toddler to eat their vegetables. All of that is pure creativity. Some of the world's smartest inventors couldn't draw at all. They succeeded because they looked at common problems and saw connections that everyone else missed. Once you open up your definition of creativity, learning becomes a lot more exciting. Here's the reality: creativity isn't just a fun or hobby, it's a way of thinking. Whenever your brain connects different ideas, spots patterns, or uses an old lesson to solve a brand new problem, creativity is running the show. Scientists who study the brain know that deep learning only happens when different parts of our brain talk to each other at the same time. But how that happens? So creative thinking forces those different parts to work as a team. For example, imagine trying to learn a history chapter by just memorizing a list of dates. It's boring and you will probably forget them by next week. Now imagine if you tried to put yourself in the shoes of someone living in that time period or compared their problems to the news today. Which helps the better? Definitely the second one, easily, right? Creativity turns boring data into a meaningful experience, and people always forget random facts, but they never forget a good story. Now, here's where things get really exciting. Creativity doesn't take away from serious subjects like math or science, it actually helps you understand them better. When you do something with what you are learning, like drawing it, explaining it aloud, or turning it into a game, your brain goes much deeper than when you just read the same thing again and again. Think about learning how to drive. You could read the rule book 10 times, but you won't really learn until you sit in that driver's seat and start practicing. Learning works the same way. Take multiplications, for example. You could make kids memorize times tables with flashcards until they are completely bored, or you could show them fun number patterns, use interactive games, and then let them explore how math actually works. The second approach uses creativity and innovation, right? And it builds a strong, lasting understanding that really sticks. Now, let's talk about what this actually does for your brain and why it changes everything. First, you develop sharper thinking. When you use creative methods, your brain stops acting like a copy machine and starts acting like a problem solver. You're not just following steps, you are understanding why things work. Second, your memory gets stronger. Things don't just go in, they stay. Why? Because when you connect facts to images, stories, or real life examples, your brain creates multiple memory paths. So even if you forget one path, another one helps you find the answer. Third, you understand things faster. Instead of struggling to remember disconnected facts, your brain starts building a clear structure like a puzzle, where every new piece fits perfectly into the place. Right? So that's how cognitive benefits help us in sharper thinking, better retention, and faster understanding. Moving forward, what is real creativity in learning? So, as promised, let's now look at how real creativity actually shows up in everyday subjects using the four powerful memory techniques. And before we begin, here's something important. The idea of using creativity to learn is not new. Experts like Tony Buzan, the creator of mind maps, showed us that the brain doesn't learn in straight line. It learns through connections, images, and associations. In simple words, your brain loves pictures, patterns, and stories more than just simple plain text. And yes, there are many more techniques beyond these four, but all only work when you practice them with the right way and use them consistently. So now let's explore how this works in real classroom. So first is the drawing concept. Instead of just reading, start sketching what you learn. For example, in biology, imagine a plant cell as a castle. The cell wall becomes a strong fortress protecting everything inside. The moment you turn an idea into a picture, your brain locks it in much faster. Second, the storytelling. Turn facts into stories. In history, don't just memorize that the Magna Carta was signed in 1215. Picture a group of angry barons confronting a nervous King John and forcing him to sign an agreement in a muddy field. When there's emotion and drama, memory becomes effortless because we remember drama easily, right? Third is the mind map. This is where Tony Buzan's idea shines actually. Instead of writing long notes in a linear way, as our brain thinks in random way, ideas pop up into the random ways. You need to create a visual map of ideas using colorful sketch pens and visuals. For example, while studying The Great Gatsby, you can connect characters' themes like wealth and symbols like the green light all in one diagram. This helps you see the big picture instead of memorizing scattered information. Fourth one, last but not the least, connecting new learning to something you already understand. You can help students to remember a long list of words that will actually help them for vocab building for different categories, and this is my favorite method. Let's see how it works with another subject. In chemistry, think of covalent bonding like roommates sharing rent to keep their apartment stable. The brain remembers better when it can relate new information to something familiar. No matter what subject you are teaching or learning, these creative techniques don't just make learning fun, they make it stick. But remember, knowing these techniques is not enough. The real magic happens when you practice them regularly and apply them the right way. That's when learning becomes faster, deeper, and truly meaningful. Let's look at a real life situation. Two students are preparing for the same test. Student A studies the night before, memorize everything quickly, and somehow gets through the test. Student B learns differently, asks questions, draws ideas, and connects it to the real life. Now, the fast forward to the next week, student A barely remembers anything. Student B still understands the topic clearly. The difference is memorizing helps you pass a test. Creative learning helps you actually understand and remember. And this matters more than ever today. As students move to higher classes, subjects get harder and the content keeps increasing. If they depend only on memorization, it leads to stress, confusion, and exam anxiety. But when they use creative memory techniques, everything changes. Learning feels easier, concepts make sense faster, and most important, students feel confident because they know they can actually remember what they have learned. From the childhood, we have taught them the concepts, but we have not told them how to learn that. So, these memory techniques help the students to learn better. Let's wrap this up with one simple truth: creativity is not extra, it's how real learning happens. When you draw, connect ideas, or use mind maps, your brain builds strong memory pathways. You are not just memorizing, you're understanding. In today's world, with Google, AI, and lot many other digital tools, it's not about how much you can read or view the information or can do the research, but it is all about how you are going to register that particular information, retain it into your brain, and recall when it is actually required. So that's why creativity is your biggest learning advantage. And if you want to learn these techniques step by step, drop a comment below. I'll share the details with you. And please do not forget to subscribe my channel, hit the like button if you like the video, and share it with the one who might need it. Right? So see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.